Hello, my loves. Dina here. No Fear, Just Flow. I am a baby Christian and I am new to God and new on my walk with Jesus. I spent 48 years of my life with no God at all. He was with me, but I was not with him. I spent another 2 years wondering where God was, and then found myself on my knees begging for him to come back to me, and in that moment realized that it was my job to come to God, and I did. And so for the last 2 years I have spent studying and learning about God, learning what it feels like to have him in my life, learning to hear the Holy Spirit in my head, and learning to walk like Jesus. And so when people call me religious or tell me that they don't go to church because of the things that church has done to them, I certainly understand. I understand that there are a lot of churches out there that have done dangerous, horrible things. But I will tell you that I met God first and heard him speak to me through the Holy Spirit and learned to walk like Jesus, and then I found a church. So if you are avoiding church because things did not work out for you well, or because you didn't have a pleasant experience, or because you're new to it, I would suggest that you learn to hear God outside of church, that you learn to worship and pray outside of that situation, and then pour into God and find a place where you can worship him, because there's something beautiful about worshiping God with other people. Truly, the energy that you get is phenomenal. But if you don't know what God feels like, then you might have difficulty having discernment when you go into that situation. And you do have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself from so much these days, but even churches. And so I would just suggest that you quiet your mind and learn to hear God and meditate and pray, and then go and figure out what kind of worshiping place is good for you. But really, the temple that God gave us is our own body. And so that's what you should worship first, is your body. And that's hard to do. It truly is. So I'm a big fan of fasting, but there's an art to fasting. So don't just think that you can stop eating food and then eat a meal here or there and you're fasting. Fasting is nourishing your body with healthy foods that have been given to us from God, and eliminating the foods that are unhealthy. It's not just not eating for a little bit of time and then eating whatever you want. In fact, I think that maybe that's even more dangerous. So I wrote a book on fasting called Alkaline Your Life, and it really is important to understand what you're doing. I know that fasting is a trend, but if you don't fast without education first, then you can end up being really sick. So if you're going to fast, please learn a little bit more about it. Buy my book if you will, or ask me some questions about fasting. But know that fasting is super important. Jesus said when you fast, not if you fast. I like to say that. And God talks about fruit a lot in the Bible. Fruit is a very great food for fasting. There's many people out there that just eat fruit. I eat a lot of fruit. So just quiet your mind, listen to God, and have some discernment. And don't be mad at God if you've had things happen in the church that didn't feel right, because that wasn't God doing that. God doesn't harm us. He loves us and protects us. And that doesn't mean, though, that he has dominion over our own behaviors or over the demons and the devils that are out there. And so have discernment in your heart and know that you are protected, but you have these things called instincts and willpower that God put in place so that you can protect yourself. So be the light and walk like Jesus as much as you can, and remember that you are a child of God and you are loved. We all are loved. It's just sometimes we don't know how to love ourselves, and that's the most important thing we can do. So have a blessed day. Like and subscribe. Say something if you will, and just remember that you are a child of God, maybe his favorite.